Guys, it's Jeremy from TheCraftyCatsman.com, reporting in from the Speakeasy arcade, a bar that I built in my basement for less than a contractor wanted to charge just to put up studs and drywall. Behind me is one of my favorite parts of the arcade, my custom-built 4K 120Hz Virtual Pinball Machine. It's equipped with surround sound feedback, DOF, an OLED playfield, and the latest beta versions of Visual Pinball and Pinup Popper. Today, I'm going to help prepare you for one of the biggest decisions of your life. Okay, dial that back a little bit. Today, my goal is to bring you up to speed on the latest updates and provide you with a core set of resources to help you decide whether you should build or buy a virtual pinball machine. We'll cover the basics of this beautiful hobby, some important terminology, your buying options, and my advice on why I think you can build your own machine. I also have some discounts to throw your way. A little thank you for helping my site become the #1 search result for virtual pinball. If you haven't visited TheCraftyCatsman.com, I encourage you to hop on over and check it out for a longer text-based version of this content. I also walk through how I built this entire speakeasy. In short, I spent years researching and then months building my virtual pinball machine. Truthfully, that was just the beginning. Over the last year and a half, I have regularly updated the hardware and software of the system. And during this time, I documented everything that I did and wrote in detail why I made my decisions. I'm excited to share this video and help spread the word on what is one of my favorite hobbies. I truly believe that now is one of the best times to jump into this hobby. In the past year, we have seen major updates to virtually every aspect of the game. So without further ado, let's jump in. First things first, let's define virtual pinball. It's not your classic pinball machine. It's a digital simulation that lets you switch between thousands of user-created tables in seconds. Some of these tables are exact replicas of classic games, like Whirlwind, Tales of Arabian Nights, AC/DC, and Metallica. And some are completely new concepts like Die Hard, Darkest Dungeon, SpongeBob, and Futurama. The goal is to build or buy a machine that looks and feels like a classic pinball table. The components and configuration that you choose will ultimately decide how realistic the actual gameplay feels. When done right, the results are nothing short of astonishing. I glossed over this a minute ago, but let me reiterate. These tables are free to download. That's right, free. Because they're recreations, charging money just isn't part of the deal. We're actually super lucky that big pinball names like Gottlieb, Bally, Williams, and Stern are okay with this virtual twist. Gary Stern once said, "It's a good educational tool for learning the game. It's not real pinball. It's something different." And he's right. The hobby has evolved tremendously since that comment, thriving on the respect and admiration that hobbyists have for the game. Before we dive into your build or purchase options, we need to cover some basic terminology that's important to your decision-making process. There are a lot more terms that we can cover, but we can get into those in a later video. First is SSF, or Surround Sound Feedback. This is a technology that simulates the mechanical sounds like ball rolls, hits, and pops in a virtual pinball machine. Speakers are strategically placed around the playfield to create an immersive sound environment. Cabinets with SSF are often built with 4 exciters, 2 in the front, positioned by the flipper buttons, and 2 near the rear. There's also typically 2 bass shakers, 1 in the front and 1 in the rear. Exciters are devices that turn surfaces into speakers by vibrating. They are used in virtual pinball machines to provide tactile feedback, simulating the sensation of the ball hitting various objects. Bass shakers are also known as tactile transducers. These convert low-frequency sound signals into vibrations, adding a physical sensation to the gameplay. Think of these as the deep rumbles that give the simulation of heavier mechanical aspects of a traditional pinball machine. These components are in addition to your regular speakers and subwoofer. The combination of all of these components create a rich and vivid experience that's well worth the investment. I strongly suggest that you build or buy a pinball machine with SSF in mind. I will link to the components that I used in my setup in the video description below. Direct output framework for LEDs. I added DOF specifically in LED matrix and strips months after completing my build. This was a feature that I didn't really think I needed, but I was amazed at how much it added to the immersion. Traditionalists don't seem to love DOF, but man, the HD stuff that Darren and his team put out are absolutely stellar. Now, if you're interested in installing LEDs in your cabinet, there are 2 main paths that you can take: the standard definition matrix and the high definition matrix. The SD effects are great, but the HD matrices are just another level. If you budget for SD, you can always upgrade to HD later. A playfield screen's refresh rate is extremely important to consider. 60 Hz has been the standard, but more builders are opting for 120 Hz. Without getting too technical, the refresh rate plays a pivotal role in how smooth the ball looks on the screen, Traditionally, we may prioritize screen's resolution, like 1080p versus 4K, but on a virtual pinball playfield, the refresh rate is equally, if not more important. We're all familiar with resolution and understand that 4K is better than 1080p for visuals. However, on a virtual pinball build, everything is relative. For example, an LG OLED 4K 120Hz playfield is considered to be one of the best playfields to use in a build. However, a TV like this will demand a lot from your computer. If your GPU isn't built to handle the demand, your tables are going to lag and stutter. CPU and GPU is a rabbit hole that I could spend an entire video talking about. For now, just know that the computer's CPU, central processing unit, and GPU, graphics processing unit, need to be considered when planning. For a 4K 120Hz screen, you're going to need a 70 series NVIDIA processor, like an RTX 3070. Or an AMD 6800 chip. This will make sure that things run smoothly. The CPUs in gaming computers of this caliber are usually up to the task, so focus on finding the right GPU. I strongly recommend that you shop sales and wait for deals. Gaming computers fluctuate dramatically in price. My strategy was to wait for one to go on sale, and then I found an open box deal on Amazon and saved a few extra bucks. Definitions and debates on these definitions can go on for hours, but I'm going to stop with the terminology section here. Comment below if you have any specific questions and I'd be happy to answer them. Subscribe and hit the bell so that you're the first to know when my future videos come out on these topics. If you've been to TheCraftyCatsman.com or seen my other videos, then you're probably already aware that I'm going to make the case for building, not buying your virtual pinball machine. My argument is pretty simple. I did it. And while I'm not an expert, with a little determination, I've been able to build this pinball machine and an entire speakeasy on my own. The tip is to take the risk and give it a try. In short, if I can do it, so can you. That being said, it doesn't mean that you want to build your own machine. There are plenty of other reasons why a project like this just might not be for you, and that's fine. But you need to be careful in this marketplace. Understanding the hobby will make your purchasing decisions, and most importantly, your gameplay experience, a whole lot better. First, we have mainstream options like AtGames and Arcade 1UP. These are fully assembled and licensed virtual pinball machines, and they're ready to play right out of the box. They do lack some of the more compelling components of the experience. They're not designed to play the hobby tables that I described earlier, but there are guides on how to get them to. From my research, AtGames generally outperforms Arcade 1UP. These machines can be upgraded, and if you plan to upgrade over the course of months or years, then this could be a good option for you. But if you're hungry for cutting-edge VPin tech, you may want to look elsewhere. The online marketplace for assembled virtual pinball machines includes both well-intentioned hobbyists and some who capitalize on years of work done by others. Some sellers offer machines with hundreds of user-created tables without understanding or caring about the ethical implications. The key point here is that creators of these virtual pinball games cannot legally sell them, and the software to run them is free. Many creators explicitly ask for their work to be excluded from cabinet packs, but some sellers ignore these requests. When a seller packages a pinball machine with preloaded software and games, it transforms a hobby into a for-profit venture, risking the entire ecosystem. Sites like VP Forums and VP Universe clearly state this, and it's important to understand that you're likely to come across cabinets like this as well. It may seem like a good idea at first, but once you understand the nature of the hobby, you're going to want to download and install the tables yourself. This allows you to understand the basics of the installation, and it will make it easier to keep up with the rapid and amazing changes that happen on a weekly basis. This is a heavily debated topic. Aside from the ethical and potential legal implications, I flat out recommend avoiding preloaded machines because of how user-specific the table customization is. Also, new tables are released almost daily, and understanding how to download and install a table will allow you to stay up to date on all of the great new things that the community has to offer. Fully trimmed models come at a significant cost premium when compared to building a machine yourself, and it's justified. This is not a simple machine, and the work to build one is no small task. Pay attention to the materials that the seller is using, and as a test, reach out to their customer service department. See how long it takes for them to get back to you. Places like Virtual Pin sell fully trimmed models. I spoke with a few other builders in the community that sell fully trimmed systems without software installed. I've also spoke with a few cabinet builders that currently sell their cabinets with software, but are willing to offer their units without the tables upon request. I'll add some of those options in the description. Okay, so now we discussed your purchase options. There are actually a few ways to go about building your own cabinet. Building a cabinet from scratch requires precise measurements and power tools. If you're comfortable with basic power tools and can follow instructions, I recommend that you build your cabinet rather than buy it. If you don't already own the power tools, then the question really is if this project is a good excuse to start adding to that collection, or if it's better to save that money and invest it in other parts of the project. If you don't already have the tools, or you're concerned about the complexity of the precise measurements, then a flat pack kit might be for you. Many small businesses offer CNC-cut virtual pinball cabinets. From my research, the best option is a wide-body flat-pack kit from Virtual Pin. Their customer service, particularly Paul's guidance, is exceptional. Paul has been in this industry since inception, and I have spoke with him a dozen times over the last few years. He's always offered to help, even before I was a paying customer. I'm going to put a code in the description that'll give you a discount on some of Virtual Pin's products. Emil from The Way of the Wrench on YouTube is a fantastic resource. His detailed videos are a gold mine of information, and his teaching style is top-notch. It makes the process clear and manageable. I watch this series obsessively, and he's the reason why I have a pinball cabinet today. If after watching The Way of the Wrench, you feel like building a cabinet frame just isn't for you, then strongly consider a flat pack kit. Let me say it again. Go watch some of Emil's videos to see if this is right for you. If you're up for the challenge, then building your own cabinet is a fun and rewarding project. It took me a few weeks to build my cabinet, but a lot of that was due to my own insanity. I decided to create a shell for my unit with leftover scrap wood that I used to create this wall in my secret arcade. To achieve this, I needed to use 1/2-inch plywood, then plane all of my scrap wood to 1/4 of an inch to give me the standard 3/4 inch thickness of a pinball machine. If you haven't already, I recommend that you check our website, TheCraftyCatsman.com, where you can see every step that I took to building this speakeasy. Woodworking is only half the battle. The electronic side of things is difficult, but has a lower barrier to entry. You won't need expensive power tools, but you will need to be diligent. Messing up the wiring could lead to fires and serious injury. It's normal to feel intimidated, but there's a wealth of community resources and straightforward instructions available. Again, I recommend that you jump over to Emil's channel and check out the wiring videos. If you have patience to follow instructions, you can do this. Programming is where the magic happens. Programming your virtual pinball machine opens the door for virtually limitless customization. The community is constantly releasing new tables and updates, offering endless possibilities for your personalization. You can choose your table's media like backglass, wheel art, and topper, and adjust its appearance like its tilt, position, etc. Occasionally, you'll need to tweak some screen positions and other settings, but these are usually minor adjustments. Building a virtual pinball machine from the ground up is without a doubt a test of diverse skill sets. It's a complex, multifaceted home project that will likely push you out of your comfort zone, much like building this hidden bookcase door, but with the added challenge of low voltage electronics. However, I assure you, the resources and community support are out there to help guide you every step of the way. A complete build from scratch allows you to pace yourself, save money, and ultimately create the virtual pinball machine that perfectly fits your vision. But be prepared, this isn't a weekend project. It's a journey that unfolds over weeks or even months, filled with intricate, rewarding steps. Planning is crucial. Before you start, have a clear plan. This includes not only the design and dimensions, but also the components you'll need. Proper planning can save you time and prevent costly mistakes. I made this mistake when I decided to create a non-standard dimension for my cabinet. Because of this, I couldn't use an authentic lockdown bar. Budget wisely. While building from scratch can save money, costs can still add up very quickly. The build process will likely be a long one, and so I recommend that you acquire parts as they go on sale. One of the most expensive parts in this build is the gaming computer that runs it. Prices for gaming computers swing wildly, and if you time it correctly, you could save hundreds of dollars. I recommend keeping an eye on Amazon and Best Buy sales, then trying to find an open box version to shave even more money off the cost. Enjoy the process. Remember that building your own virtual pinball machine is just as much about the journey as it is about the final product. In fact, a lot of people joke that they finished their pinball machine and continue to tweak it for years to come. I am immensely grateful to The Way of the Wrench for being the guy that pushed me past my fear of building a cabinet. So a special shout out goes to him. Please check his channel for the intricate details of cabinet building. In addition, there are hundreds of people that I've interacted with in this community, and I appreciate the hard work of so many of you. Check the description of this video for a list of people, Facebook groups, communities, YouTube channels, and websites that I recommend to help you along your journey. And for the love of pinball, if you made it this far, please like and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.